morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. Today, Startup Maine is kicking off our Entrepreneurs and Ecosystem Builders speaker series. These virtual events feature thinkers and doers from across the state who are working on and building awesome companies and products, and also those folks who are helping to further develop our startup ecosystem. These conversations will be moderated by me, Katie Shorey, Startup Maine's president. And today's event would not be possible without our sponsors, Bangor Savings Bank and Maine Technology Institute, as well as our media sponsor, Maine Biz. So for those who don't know, Maine Technology Institute was founded and funded in 1999 by the Maine State Legislature, and they offer grants, loans, equity investments, and services to support Maine's innovation economy. They support new ideas and products, or methods with the potential to grow and diversify Maine's economy and increase the number of quality jobs throughout the state by directly supporting these innovators. And Maine Technology Institute also supports the innovation economy through event sponsorships that promote innovation and entrepreneurship in Maine, such as this series. So we thank them. They've been such a supportive partner over the years. And I'm just going to do a brief 30-second video from our sponsor, Bangor Savings Bank. So bear with me.
I truly believe that if you're gonna do something better, you gotta start by innovating. Think about how to solve for a customer problem in a way that's quicker, different, and more customer-centric. The bank's promise has been fundamentally the same from the beginning till now, and that's ensuring that all that we do is making the lives of our employees, our customers, and the communities better. And it's their better, not what's defined as our better.
Alrighty, I am really excited to kick off this series and start with my friend, Nick Rimsa, founder of Eariously, owner of Tortoise Labs, and co-creator of Propeller program at CEI Women's Business Center. Just so everyone knows, the chat is off, but the Q&A is on, so feel free to drop a note in there, but we're short on time today, so no promises we'll get there. But with that, I want to turn it over to Nick. Nick, if you'll introduce yourself. Who are you? Where are you?
Hey, Katie, thanks for having me. So I'm Nick Rimsa. I'm a product designer, and I live in Benton, which is 2 towns over from Waterville. And I'm currently sitting in my little foyer. This has become my desk slash office slash place I spend the vast majority of my time. So I really appreciate everyone who's here listening in and trying to, get a taste of what we're up to.
So yeah, let's talk about that. What are you up to? What is Tortoise Labs? Tell us about that.
Sure. So we're up to quite a bit. We've actually been busier than we've ever been since all of this madness began. We are a small software and design development team focused on helping founders understand their customers and their needs so that they can be profitable from the very beginning and hopefully get on a path to self-reliance. And so we do that by teaching classes. We, as Katie mentioned, we work with the CEI Women's Business Center, and then we are funded through the Alphon Foundation to teach classes. Excuse me, lost my voice a little bit this morning. To teach classes in Central Maine. So we work with folks, help them learn how to talk to customers, learn how to understand their needs, and make stuff. We've had the chance to work with dozens and dozens of founders in the last couple of years. This project stemmed from a lot of experimentation in the last couple of years, working with different people, trying different ways how to build stuff. And now, we've got a little group of, see in front of me, we've got 15 projects that have stemmed from these programs in the last year. And it's been really, really exciting to have the chance to work with folks from all over Maine. And so, we teach 8-week classes focused on understanding how to talk to folks, how to ask questions, and then ultimately how to solve for needs that people have, so that people can make things that people actually need. I mean, as someone who's been making things for a while, it's very, very easy to make things that are junk and that, you know, are things that people don't want. And so the basis of these courses is to prevent that, because there's nothing worse than spending weeks or months or years in some cases working on things that nobody cares about other than you. And so that's sort of the basis of the time that we spend working with folks. And then you know, we're able to work with the people that have the most progress, and ultimately bring their ideas to life through building software solutions. And so you know, it's been a really, really exciting project to work on for the last couple of years. We've gotten the chance to work primarily with first-time makers, which is just so exciting, because everyone's so excited and you know, getting to learn things for the first time and dive into things that are totally new to them. And you know, it's been really, really fun. So you know, we've had a number of these projects come to fruition in really exciting ways, and I think we're just thrilled about how it's unfolded, and very, very thankful for all the help that we've gotten from folks throughout Maine.
Awesome. So can you give just some, I mean, without giving anything away, can you give some examples, if you're allowed to talk about some of the, like, just what are people cooking up? Like, what are some of these ideas? And when you talk about helping them figure out the whole customer discovery and making things that people actually want versus just an idea that they think might go somewhere, like what does some of that look like?
Sure. So I've got my list printed out in front of me, and it's it's a pretty wide range of things that folks are doing. So for example, Josh Kim, he's a student at Colby. He's made a marketplace specifically for college students, tailored to specific campuses. Dylan Vayu, he's the founder of Tree Free. He takes hemp waste and turns it into heating products. We've got Heather Kerner. She's the founder of the Good Crust in Skowhegan. She is making 100% Maine grain dough, frozen dough. It's really delicious. I made frozen pizza. I made pizza with it this past weekend, and for pretty much the past weekend for the last 2 months. Tracy O'Clair is building a product called My Content Team. So that's a project management tool for marketing teams, so that they can organize things better and publish things on time. Michelle DiGiorono, she's founder of a company called Wella, and Wella is chair yoga at home for busy teams. So these projects are really all over the place. Like, they're just like, you know, they span sort of every type of category. But the thing that really, you know, connects them is, you know, these are founders that were focused on being profitable from day one. So, you know, thinking about, okay, well, I have an idea, but I'm really, really open-minded as to what it is that people want, and have a willingness to pay for. So, you know, and a thing that we focus on a lot is like, hey, you know, who's your customer? What's their need? And then can you find them? Can you go out? It doesn't matter how good your idea is if you're not able to find customers and ultimately learn from them and prove what it is that you're making and make a sale. So this is a group that's, you know, just tremendously focused on understanding people and what it is that they want. And I think, you know, I'm really, really excited to see how these unfold. I mean, these are people, again, who are making stuff for the first time, and they're working full-time jobs, or they're you know, full-time students, and somehow they're finding a way to bring things to fruition, to turn their ideas into reality and make money and make money consistently on a month-to-month basis and grow what it is that they're doing. So I think that this group that we've been able to work with, we've been just super lucky. You know, they're reliable, they're consistent, they work hard, and they're delightful humans. So I think that we've been really, really lucky in that respect.
so you are working with folks all over the state, but I don't want to skip over the fact that you intentionally picked where you are to set up shop. So can you just talk about that briefly, about like why Waterville, why that part of the state? Because I think that's really important for folks to hear.
Sure. Yeah. And so, yeah, we work with folks from Machias, down to, Kennebunk. So just like, and as far west as Farmington right now. So we work with folks from wherever, but, as Katie mentioned, I work in and live in the greater Waterville area. And then, it was, people ask me like, what the hell are you doing there? But it was a very intentional choice. So I, 2 years ago, was teaching a class at Colby. I had planned to leave, go work with one of my partners, Brendan. He lives out in LA. He lives 5-minute walk from the beach in Santa Monica. Obviously right now, it's not an ideal place to be out and about, but 2 years ago it was. And so, I decided to stick around there. I was working closely with a handful of students who were working on projects, again, like mostly first-time makers, trying to bring their ideas to life. And they were making such kick-ass progress. These were folks primarily who had started my class and decided, hey, I want to continue working on this. I want to continue, dipping into what it is that I'm doing, and I would love some help. So I decided to stick around, continue working with these folks. And I think, as I got to know more people, can, tend to, shut in and just focus on what it is that I'm doing in my tiny little dark space. But the folks within the community were just like immediately just super, super, super helpful. And just had such a willingness to help and encourage and propel us forward. I think, a handful of people, Katie, obviously, Mike Duguay at Thomas College. I mean, literally like within 2 times of meeting him, he was like, hey, here's my Rolodex, go meet whoever. Garvin Donegan, who works at Central Maine Growth Council. I mean, just like helping with grant writing, helping with introductions to people, getting us in contact with folks from DECD, folks like Martha Bentley, who herself has been a tremendous advocate and help to us and our community. Elaine from Central Maine Growth Council too, formerly. Whitford, Nancy Stoney from SCORE, the folks at MTI, of course, and they have an office in Waterville. And then our partners over at Bricks, RJ and Zelk, and like
Bricks co-working, right? For people who don't know.
Yeah, Bricks co-working and innovation space in the Hathaway building in Waterville. And so, we found this crew of folks up here who, just gave us a tremendous amount of help, allowed us to stand out, allowed us to, they listened to our crazy ideas and didn't tell us they were crazy. They said, hey, let's work together and figure out how to do this. So I think we were drawn to the people up here. And then, I'm sitting on my little desk, and my backyard is the Sebasticook River. I can go do nature things whenever. This weekend I'm going up to Eastport to explore, like after work and on the weekends, my time spent moseying around, adventuring, doing outdoor things. And
yeah.
That's been the case since I moved here, but has been especially the case for the last duration of this crazy time period. And it's been really, really nice to be focused on a screen for a period of the day, and then be able to mitigate that by going to do something beautiful outside. And I think the influx of people from all over the place moving here during the pandemic is a reflection of the fact that people want to do their digital work, but then also want to explore in a beautiful place.
Maine is a perfect place for that, the quality of life and then what we have going on here. So what from where you're sitting, because you have your hands in a lot of things, like, so what's working in the ecosystem, and then what's a challenge? So you can start with like what's working from your vantage point.
Sure. So I think, just the people up here are awesome. Just, the ability to get in touch with whoever, the ability to connect to whoever, it's super, super easy, never challenged with, finding a contact or asking someone for help and always getting it. I think in terms of like the people that are here currently doing the work, it's really a great group. It's reliable, it's consistent, it's folks who are easy to work with. I think that, as Katie touched upon, there are some seriously, keystone organizations. There's MTI, CEI, the CEI Women's Business Center, who, I'm really lucky to work closely with, DECD. I mean, the organizations that exist are really stellar and extremely invested.
The
Yes,
connectability between them too. Yeah.
and they're all connected, and they all work together, and everyone knows everyone. It is a small, a small state, of course, and everyone's going in the same direction. I think if there's one thing to highlight, it's the fact that everyone's on the same page working together. I think that, I think one thing that I hear, in working with folks, is the hardest part of making anything is getting started. It's taking that first step, and that's the focus of all the programming that we do. The focus of working with first-time makers, it's helping them get started, because there's this invisible barrier within sort of the digital realm of like, hey, that's not me. I don't have experience. I don't have expertise, and that's what we like to focus on most, is helping people get started. And I think, like, if there's one thing to focus on, or one thing that we have been focused on pushing, it's helping more people get into this ecosystem. It's helping more people start, because you see time and again, like, the same people popping up, the same people working on stuff, which is great. I mean, those are leaders within the community, but we've having the chance to work with so many people who are working full-time jobs, who are full-time students, who are doing really, really awesome work. What we would love to see is just more people starting. And the faster you get started with working on something, the faster you get better. I mean, just, it's hard to build stuff, but it's crazy how fast you improve. So I think that if there's one thing that I would love to see, it's just more and more people improving, and sort of more people entering this world in the first place. And I think, I think that's not just, white men, people that look like me, but it's people, from all sorts of different communities who are making things and prompting change.
Yeah. And we talked about the need to change the culture and the mindset. Like, there's not enough people in our ecosystem making the things, building the things. And so there's so many people that maybe have ideas, or like they identify a need, but they don't start. So would you say that Tortoise Labs is a place that somebody could go to just to get that, like, first idea really off the ground?
Yeah, that's really our focus. It's getting with people. It's like, hey, you got an idea? Well, let's go see if it's right. Let's go see if it's right or not. And really, the basis of that is talking to people. It's understanding how to ask questions, how to talk to people, how to tease out responses, and then understanding, like, okay, I went to go talk to these 15 people, and this doesn't seem to be a problem that matters. But I identified something new that does. And so, our focus with Tortoise Labs, but also with Propeller, working closely with Anna Ackerman and Sarah Garrett. I mean, it's a very, very similar program. So if you're someone who's interested in making something for the first time, the next batch of classes begins in January. Am I allowed to plug stuff?
Oh, yeah, plug away. This is how people find out about stuff.
All right. So, I guess I can put it in the chat probably. So the next batch of our classes starts in January. If you go to tortoiselabs.com, you can sign up for the waiting list. We have a few spots left. And then working with the folks at CEI Women's Business Center, our next batch of Propeller classes begins in January. That's a very, very similar class, focused on women getting started with an idea and taking it to an MVP. So the more folks that we can get getting started, the better everyone's experiences. Because I mean, I'll tell you, this, like, there are people who are starting stuff for the first time, and all of a sudden they're like, just hauling away and making serious progress. And like, those people who might be starting something for the first time, all of a sudden are the people that are helping you the most. So I think, just to hammer the point, I would love if more and more people started in Maine.
Yeah. And we'll send, for everyone who signed up for the webinar, we'll send, we'll plug Tortoise Labs and the Propeller program. Is there anything else you want to add about or shed some light on about the Propeller program? Like just kind of how that came to be, the focus on women. I would love to hear a bit more about that for those who haven't heard about it.
Sure. So just to start, the program came together because of Anna Ackerman and Sarah Garrett. So they work for the CEI Women's Business Center. And they just have been tremendous teammates. I mean, if there's anyone on this call who's thinking about working together with CEI, do it. They're amazing. Back in December, I guess, not sure what year now. I don't.
I think it was 2019.
Yeah, back in December 2019. Anna Ackerman and Sarah came over to where I was working at Bricks in Waterville. And, they were interested in a space, but we got to talking and I shared that, look, the biggest problem that I'm having right now is I'm not working with very many women. And, very quickly they were like, hey, let's start a program. You're teaching this class at Colby, at Thomas, and you're doing this work here at Bricks within the community. Why don't we take your class and, plug it into what we're doing here? And so, I've had, the chance now to co-facilitate with Anna for, we've had 2 full cycles. We're in the process of completing our second full cycle of classes. So we've worked closely with over 50 women, starting from like the very, very beginning. And again, these are first time makers. And almost all of them are working full-time, or they're full-time, they're full-time something, they're full-time students, full-time moms. And so, the program came together exceedingly fast. And in fact, like the first cohort we had, we ended up having 2 because we were oversubscribed by so much. We worked closely with some really, really amazing people. And then we found at the end of that, like so many of them, like I found at Colby and within the community of Waterville, so many of them wanted to continue. CEI was, like exceptional. I mean, they were willing to say, hey, why don't you continue working with these women and bring these products to market, turn these ideas into automated software solutions. And that's what we've been doing. In that first batch, working with Kim Dakin, working with Tracy Auclair, Heather Kerner. I mean, those are about to be full software solutions with customers, with income. I mean, not like $20 a month. Like these women are making serious cash, and it's really, really exciting to see. So we finished that first cohort back last summer. We started another one immediately, and that one's almost complete now. We'll wrap up around Thanksgiving, and like the group that we have with that one is outstanding again. So we're really, really lucky to work with some tremendous people, and I think we're really excited for the next batch of folks to work with.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about some of the outcomes from the people that you're working with. I know that they're not all public right now, so it'll be really interesting to see how that all comes about. So I want to briefly talk. We only have 6 minutes left, so I want to talk just about. I know. How did this happen? Well, they're just supposed to be quick conversations so people know what's going on. So what's a frustrating problem that you're facing or that you're seeing? I mean, and we've talked a lot about talent and getting people to even think about working at a startup. Like, let's talk about talent a bit, because I think that that's a piece of the puzzle that like everyone's always talking about. So do you have any thoughts on that?
I do. So, we're working with first-time people. And, in a lot of cases, if they're building a software solution, we're working as their support team. So we're designing and developing, the software solution itself. But, we can't support them for forever. And, we ultimately work closely with them to help them find a permanent technical partner or permanent sales partner, or whatever it might be. Help them build out their team. The problem is like that process takes forever. It takes so long. And I think an obvious solution there that stems is like getting more people into the ecosystem in the first place, getting more people who are interested in potentially working for startups, solving problems, working with highly creative people on profit-focused businesses, sustainable businesses that ultimately they have the ability to live off of and self-sustain from. So I think that, you know, if there's a single problem, it's getting more people into this realm, making stuff. And I think, like, you know, we've talked a lot about, like, well, how do you accomplish that? And, you know, like, frankly, an easy way is through cash, like paying people to enter this world, paying people to support them. I mean, these are, again, these are people who are working full time. And I think, like, you know, it's hard enough to, start something. It's a hell of a lot harder if you're working full time, and it's a hell of a lot harder if you have student loans, or you're poor, or you don't have access to capital. And frankly, like, you know, the reason why there's so many, white men in this world is, like, they're, you know, that's the, you know, those are the people with the most cash. And until like there's more money allocated, to paying people to support them, to paying people for their ventures, to investing in them, who are people that, you know, aren't white men, like, it's going to be more of the same. So until there's more cash that incentivizes people, who are from communities who aren't getting the TLC that they deserve, within this community, like, it's going to be more of the same. So I think, in terms of, like, getting more people into this realm, it's really important that the focus lie on, focusing on communities who aren't generally the focus. And, like, frankly, like, those are the people that, you know, make the best stuff. So who are struggling, who have faced challenges, who are problem solving and designing on a daily basis anyway. And so I think that, you know, if there's anything to advocate for, it's getting more people into this community, and people who look different.
Yeah. I mean, I think there are so many exciting things happening in Maine, and there's a lot that we need to do collectively as ecosystem builders to really move the needle. And sometimes that takes, like, thinking really big. And you and I have brainstormed about this before, like, what are some big ideas that could really help change essentially just change the culture here. And do you have any, in our minute left here, like, do you have any big ideas that I mean, I know you said focusing on people, on underrepresented groups, but any big ideas that we can just leave out for people to ruminate on?
Sure. Yeah. Pay people. Like, you want to get people to move to Maine, pay them, incentivize them, pay companies to move here, incentivize first-time founders by subsidizing their income, give them cash, remove the barriers on grant funding so that they can pay themselves with income. Starting business is a tremendous challenge. It's really, really hard. And if you're focused on paying the bills, if you're focused on scraping by, you're not going to succeed. You just aren't. Like, as someone who has done that in the past, it's miserable. It's just, like, if your focus is entirely on just like living, you're never going to find success with the business that you're building. And so I think that if there's one thing to focus on in terms of, like, changing how funding happens, it's making it more freely accessible. And, you know, making and aligning incentives, pay off student debt, pay people to move here, pay people to build companies. And I think, like, you know, it works elsewhere. There's no reason why it wouldn't work here.
Love it. Okay, Nick, we are at the end of our time, and I hope that people have a better understanding of what you're working on, what some of the amazing things are going on around the state, some challenges that we are seeing, and just some big ideas that we need to grapple moving ahead. So I want to thank everyone for logging in. And if you have any feedback, or you have an idea for a future speaker, you can email me at katie@startupmaine.org. And so we will send around some follow-up resources and links for those who are on the call today. So thanks very much, and we'll let you get on with your day. All right, take care.